You don't feel like the same person twice. Around one group, you're quieter. Around another, you're louder, more agreeable, more interesting, more adjusted. And afterward, there's this quiet question. Which one of these is actually me? Visual, person looking at their reflection, slightly distorted. You're not pretending on purpose, but it still feels fake. And the more you try to just be yourself, the less real you feel. It shows up in small moments. You laugh at a joke you didn't find funny. You nod along to opinions you don't fully agree with. You adjust your tone, your words, even your posture, without thinking. Visual. Social group talking, one person slightly out of sync. Later, when you're alone, everything replays. Why did I say that? Why wasn't I more honest? Who was I even being just now? It's not just social awkwardness. It starts to affect how you see yourself. Your identity feels unstable, like it depends on who you're with. With friends, you're one version. With family, another. With strangers, something else entirely. And none of them feel completely real. So you try to fix it. You tell yourself, next time, I'll just be authentic. But in the moment, something takes over again. You adjust, you adapt, you blend in. And afterward, that same quiet discomfort returns. Visual, empty room with sunlight slowly shifting. It's not just about social behavior. It's about identity and the unsettling feeling that you don't fully know who you are. But this pattern is not random. What if this isn't you being fake? What if it's you being trained, not consciously, but psychologically? Because this behavior didn't come from nowhere. It's an adaptation, a skill your brain learned over time to stay safe, to stay accepted, to avoid rejection. Visual, child observing others carefully. At some point, your brain made a connection. Being yourself is risky. But adjusting yourself works. And once that pattern is reinforced enough, it becomes automatic. So you're not broken, you're responsive, you're perceptive. You've learned how to read people and shape yourself accordingly. But there's a hidden cost. And to understand that cost, you have to understand what your brain is actually doing. Your brain is constantly scanning for social signals, tone, facial expressions, subtle reactions. This process is linked to something called social attunement, your ability to read and respond to others. It's a powerful skill, but when it becomes overactive, it turns into something else. Self-monitoring, visual, abstract brain animation with signals firing. Instead of just being present, you're watching yourself from the outside, like a camera pointed inward. You're not just speaking. You're evaluating how you sound, not just reacting, but adjusting in real time. Here's a simple way to understand it. Imagine your identity as a mirror. A healthy mirror reflects who you are, but an overused mirror starts reflecting everything around it. So instead of showing you, it shows whoever is standing in front of it. Visual, mirror reflecting different people. Rapidly. That's what's happening. Your brain prioritizes external feedback over internal signals. Because at some point, external feedback felt more reliable. Maybe being fully yourself led to discomfort, or judgment, or subtle rejection. So your brain adapted. It said, let's not risk that again. Instead, it built a system. Observe, adjust, blend, stay safe. This loop is reinforced by something called reward prediction. When you adjust yourself and things go smoothly, your brain rewards that behavior. No conflict, no rejection, no tension. So it learns. This works. Do it again. But over time, something gets lost. your internal reference point, your sense of who you are without feedback. And that's why, even when everything goes socially fine, you still feel fake. Because the version of you that showed up was filtered through everyone else. This doesn't change by forcing yourself to be real. It changes by retraining how your brain relates to identity. Here are 4 principles that start that shift. What to do. In conversations, pause for 1 second before responding. Why it works. This interrupts automatic self-monitoring and gives your brain time to access internal signals instead of reacting purely to external cues. Real-life example. Someone shares an opinion you slightly disagree with. Instead of instantly nodding, you pause and notice your actual reaction first. Visual, slow-motion conversation moment. What to do. After interactions, write down moments where you adjust to yourself. Why it works. This builds awareness of unconscious patterns. In cognitive psychology, awareness reduces automaticity. Real-life example. You realize you always become quieter around confident people. Not because you want to, but because it feels safer. Notebook with 1 sentence written. What to do? Ask yourself, am I changing because I want to, or because I feel I need to? Why it works. This activates metacognition, thinking about your thinking, which helps rewire conditioned responses. Real-life example. You laugh at something you don't find funny. You catch it and realize this wasn't about humor, it was about fitting in. What to do? Start being slightly more honest in situations where the risk is low. Why it works. Your brain updates its safety model through experience. Small, safe exposures teach it that authenticity isn't dangerous. Real-life example. You say, I don't really agree, but I see your point. Nothing bad happens. Your brain registers that. What to do? Spend time forming opinions before hearing others. Why it works. This strengthens internal referencing, your ability to know what you think without external input. Real-life example. Before reading comments or asking others, you decide what you actually feel about something. All of this comes back to one simple model. Mirror versus compass. Right now, your identity acts like a mirror, reflecting whoever is in front of you. But what you need is a compass, something internal, stable, quiet, but consistent. The goal isn't to stop adapting completely. Adaptation is human. The goal is to anchor first, then adjust. Know your direction before you respond to the environment. Because when your identity is only a mirror, you disappear in different rooms. But when it's a compass, you can walk into any room without losing yourself. You're not fake. You're responsive in a world that taught you to be careful. And that sensitivity is not weakness. It just needs direction. You don't have to suddenly become bold or completely unfiltered, just slightly more aligned. One honest response, one real reaction, one moment where you don't adjust, and over time, those moments start to connect. Until one day, you don't have to ask, which version of me is real? Because it starts to feel consistent, not perfect, but yours. And maybe that's what being real actually is. Not one fixed identity, but a quiet sense that wherever you go, you're still there.